After years of battling cockroaches, sewage problems, and heating bills, London's notorious Cheyenne Apartments have a new name and a new owner. Reporter John Lees takes a look at the buildings 1 year after they were purchased. But first, a story from 5 years ago when the sewer system backed up and apartments were infested with roaches.
The problem started last night when the sewer system backed up, flooding a number of apartments. The owners say they tried to locate a plumber, but they had no luck and were forced to shut off the water. Tenants were furious. They called their alderman.
Yes, it's a dump, and you can actually use the terms that one of the people of the Board of Health said when he came in. He said it was just a complete disgrace.
This is one of the apartments at 105 Cheyenne. There were cockroaches and bugs everywhere, on the walls, in the cupboards, and crawling all over the food. In another apartment, there was structural damage in the washrooms and living area. There were holes in the walls and ceilings, and doors had fallen apart.
Cheyenne Avenue now has a new name, and so have the Cheyenne Apartments. A new landlord has renovated and renamed the two roach-ridden and run-down walk-ups. He agreed to let us drop by for a visit a year after he and his associates bought them. And after negotiating one of the new security entrances at the Huron Terrace Apartments, Peter Sargautis told us why they bought them.
Conditions were deplorable, but the structure was okay. And the price was right, so it warranted a total retrofit.
Since then, he says, the new owners have spent about $500,000, bringing all 40 apartments up to standard. Each unit, he says, has been totally renovated, and now all of them are rented.
There were 12 tenants that I had to renovate around, and the rest of the tenants are new. And I believe that they are quite happy with the accommodations here.
Before very dirty and no good. Now better.
Now there's a decent stove and fridge, plumbing that works, and no cockroaches, says Tuyet Lee from Vietnam. She moved here 5 years ago and soon left because of the conditions. But now she's back.
And now it's a lot better than what it was before.
4-year resident Priyup Touch, an immigrant like most of the tenants, and from Cambodia, like about half of them, is out to own a home. But in the meantime, at least, this place is now clean, safe, and cheap.
Probably the tenants here are paying about $100 to $150 less than market rents right at this time.
But not everyone here is satisfied with what about $400 a month gets them. Not 6-month resident Mike Bannister, for example.
The place is cheap, the rent's not bad, but the hassle's not worth it.
The Western student says he's had problems galore, from a toilet without seals, to crummy appliances, to shoddy workmanship.
The door here fell off because he used wall putty to hold the door up, and I had to fix it using some fiberglass, and we painted over it. It almost hit myself in the head when I went to open the door one day.
As for prompt repairs, forget it, Mike says. Except when a TV crew is about to show up.
And it's months and months and months, and then you get another letter, and it's the same old story. So I pretty much have to do the repairs myself.
Then there's Susan Eagle, the United Church minister and community activist, who took on the former landlord and helped lead the battle to win better conditions for the tenants.
The two area aldermen welcomed me with open arms, and they encouraged me to proceed with the renovation here. But Susan Eagle was opposing the renovations here, and she has continued to harass me and the tenants over the last year.
Sargautis suggests she's unhappy that plans to turn the place into a co-op community fell through.
I guess I get under his skin because I've been called in when the heat doesn't get turned on when it should be turned on. I've been called in by tenants who believe they're being overcharged on their rents in some cases.
Currently, she's helping tenants worried about the new hydrometers that have been put in for each apartment and a plan afoot to have them pay their own electric bills. There have been improvements, Eagle allows, although she figures a lot of the credit has to go to the tenants themselves and their association.
Because they've simply kept the pressure on the city, kept the pressure on the state, pressure on everyone to do the repairs and improvements happened.
A pressure that's included a human rights tribunal that dismissed charges of racial discrimination against then landlord Elijah Elia. As for implications she's been stirring up tenants against their new landlord, Eagle stresses her job is to serve the poor and powerless, not rule them. And from what they're now telling her, she remains ambivalent about the new ownership.
Only time will tell whether all those repairs were substantial or cosmetic. Some of the tenants have complained that some of the repairs that were done have already begun to deteriorate.
I want Susan Eagle to go away and find some other areas of interest.
And Peter Sargata says the tenants' best interests are his best interests, although rents, frozen for 2 years, will have to rise about $15 a month on average for now, and increase even more in the future.
Right now I'm not making a profit. I'm hoping that soon I'll be in a position to break even, but over the next few years I'm hoping that I will be making a reasonable return on my investment here.
Which is hardly unreasonable, he thinks, considering all the hard work and hard cash, he figures, has gone into rehabilitating the place.
I don't expect that these buildings would ever be luxury towers, but they're good, decent, affordable accommodation here, and I intend to maintain the buildings as decent and affordable accommodation.